All systems nominal.
それでは早速全速前進
You wanna know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I am your host this week, Brian, and I'm joined by Alice.
Hi, I'm Alice. I have 5 pages of notes for this.
And Nico.
I don't have 5 pages of notes. Were we supposed to have 5 pages of notes?
This time around, we're discussing a case study of mech-based alternatives to talk therapy, Escaflowne, the movie. Let's launch into it.
Come, kindred spirits.
Talking about me?
Yeah, so we are discussing specifically Escaflowne, the movie, not the show, which is called Vision of Escaflowne. Please get it right. The show was created in 1996 by Studio Sunrise, which actually, I think 90% of all retro mech media was produced by Studio Sunrise, so they're going to come up a lot. But actually, the movie was created in 2000 and was animated by Studio Bones, who I have to admit my own bias is my favorite studio of all time.
They made Mob Psycho, and I'm a mob head, so...
Yes, they also made Eureka 7, so...
They make quality.
They make quality only. I don't know if I should say that. Maybe they've put out some really fucked up shit.
I just think that they have amazing female characters.
They do, the studios.
The studio. Well, here's the thing about that, actually. That's a great segue because Escaflowne, both Escaflownes, and actually I should say all, 5 Escaflownes, were created by Shoji Kamawari.
Okay, when you say Escaflownes, all I can hear is Flonase, like the allergy medicine.
Maybe you need some Escaflownes. It's
Got 'em.
I don't know. So Shoji Kawamori worked on Macross. That was his big thing. By the way, I didn't know this. Macross?
And really Macross really kind of created the transforming genre of anime, in my opinion.
No, not even in your opinion. Literally, it was the basis for both Robotech and the American Transformers series.
Huh.
Once again, my opinion is correct.
Once again, Alice's opinion is correct. Do you want to know something else I've been holding close to my chest and I haven't said, and it's been killing me because I really wanted to say it to you both?
Can I prepare myself for this?
Yes.
And I'm centered. Okay.
Shoji Kawamori also was the lead designer of Armored Core.
Oh, fuck me. Segue.
My man.
It's all connected.
And he's the lead designer of this, or the lead?
He is credited with the creator of the show. I am assuming this is the same thing that Hideaki Anno does, where he has a voice and design and then does the writing. But I'm actually not super clear on his full involvement because especially older anime that have lots of hand-drawn sequences have more credits than I could possibly imagine, and everybody contributes, nothing is monolithic in that way. But he is the main name on it. So I thought that was really interesting that he's just kind of been doing mechs and been doing specifically mechs that transform, which I was shocked by the transformation of this mech at the end of this movie. I did not know that happened. I did not remember it at all. But it's there, and it's very him, apparently.
I have so many hypercritical notes about this mech.
I've been haunted by the sounds of the mech transformations in this anime for the last however long since I've heard this. Just the crackling of cartilage.
Oh, they meaty. Oh, they crunchy.
Meat mech.
Meat mech.
So, a little bit of background on just the production of Escaflowne as an object, as a franchise. During the production of the anime in 1996, there were 2 different manga series produced as well. This is why I said Escaflowne is. One was a shoujo manga, and that was what got more directly adapted into the anime. The original show is actually a shoujo anime. It's a shoujo isekai, very kind of centered on Hitomi, and her kind of inclinations in her story while kind of giving everybody else the kind of like cabinet, card captor treatment of like, these guys have this going on, but really we're focused on the magical girl.
So a little closer to Inuyasha than what the opening of this movie is like, which is like berserk.
Yes, absolutely. And like this goes down to like straight design. I feel like there's so much about the series that explicates what Kawamori thinks boys and girls like, which I have a lot to say about. So, my kind of reading of this, like, I think, he never says this, I think the intent was with the show to more directly adapt the shoujo version of the story being told. Mm-hmm. And the movie is more supposed to be a shonen movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I say that because there's a lot of like, we'll get to this when we talk about character design, but there's a lot of, like, really big clamp tropes in this show's character design versus the movie being a lot more violent. There are no horses exploding throughout the whole 26 episode run of the original anime.
Well, thank fuck. I'm glad we didn't watch that. Waste my damn time.
They both center on the same thing, which I think is kind of interesting, which is like closed off girl meets feral guy with a lot of power to show her a fantastical world kind of thing. But the show leans a lot more into like him holding her hand and being like her guide into this world, where obviously the story is kind of crunched down a lot, and she has to do a lot of growth in a very little amount of time, which I assume we'll also talk about.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, did you guys know anything about Escaflowne going in other than like everybody knows it's like the pinnacle staple fantasy mech anime, I feel like, but other than that?
I'll go first because my name starts with an A.
Sure.
So here's the thing. I knew of Escaflowne just because it is from that era when a lot of these things came out, where we look back and we see like an era, but I never pinned this as a mecha. I always saw this as just a steampunk show.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, the show is so much more steampunk. We'll talk about that, like down to like the way Escaflowne operates.
Yeah.
Is very different between the two.
I will say, like, I knew a lot of the art style. Like, it is very visually stunning. I saw a lot of pieces of it, but honestly, I didn't think those were piloted monsters. I thought they were just, like, Godzilla-level creatures when I looked at it. So that's all I really knew of it.
Yeah, they definitely have some kaiju energy if you're just looking at the designs.
Especially the Alseides, which is the evil mech in this.
That's okay, I didn't pick up on the name. It is the beloved steed of
it is never
crazy
named.
Dipshit.
In the media, in the object of itself, Dylan Dow's machine is never named, but it is called the Alseides, like in, I guess, the object writ large. I'm not sure where maybe it was like in something they ended up cutting out. I don't know.
Well, I can go over my experience with this very quickly, which is to say I had heard the name because there is a certain mouthfeel to Escaflowne.
Yeah.
I had always transposed it in my mind with Eureka 7, and I did not know jack shit about this. I knew nothing about this. I came in totally cold. Like I said, I had only ever heard the name, and I thought it was referring to a completely different piece of media, which I also don't know much about.
I have a question for you, Nico, as a fellow Star Wars.
Yes.
Did this have huge Star Wars feels to you?
No. What do you mean by that?
I think specifically of like when the Black Dragon is like posting up over the city. That, like, I know that none of the shapes are really the same, but that had like huge Star Destroyer energy to me. The whole like mythopoetic like clans, the good clan versus the bad clan,
actually,
kind of like weird
Empire
space that it operates
Republic.
in. Yeah.
Well, I can see where you'd make this parallel, but I think it's primarily because both this and Star Wars very closely follow a classic hero's journey.
Well, and the magical powers kind of mirror each other in kind of a way. I mean, it's a lot more like anime and brutal in this.
It's very bloodline focused, which not a lot of people want to admit. Star Wars is also very bloodline focused. It's all about being the world's specialist boy because you're related to somebody who has a bloodline.
Yeah.
No, for me, actually, the touchstone for a lot of the visuals of this, like things hovering over the city and there being these monstrous things with like needles and tentacles and stuff, was actually Independence Day.
Oh, that's so fair, though.
It reminds me of when the alien ship is just hovering over, I think it was the White House or New York. I think it's the White House because I think the iconic shot is they just fucking detonate the White House.
There's a couple. There's
that's
20
right. There's multiple
spaceships, so it's many things explode. Yeah, but
So before we go any further, should I give a summary of what actually fucking happens in this movie?
I was thinking we need to get into the summary. Yeah.
All right. So the summary is...
because I have notes.
Yeah. Believe me. So the summary is as thus. Escaflowne is the story of Hitomi Kanazaki as she experiences a listless late high school life where she finds herself unable to be genuine and vulnerable with others, pushing her gay friend away at sunset. Hitomi has a psychic vision of a man she saw as a child now aged up, once again asking her to, quote, join him. This time, she is magically transported into the cockpit of a magical mech called Escaflowne. Isekai'd into a world scrambling to survive under the iron reign of the Black Dragon clan, Hitomi is introduced to a zany cast of rebels whose motivations are all reduced to offhanded one-liners and weird shouting at the end of the movie. Nevertheless, after witnessing a brutal battle between Vaughn's people and the Black Dragons, Hitomi... Did I name Vaughn?
Oh,
Vaughn is her sexy man.
Yeah. The feral boy.
Yes. Hitomi decides she wants Vaughn to live and may be willing to endure the mortifying ordeal of being known in order to make sure that happens. Informed of a prophecy in which Escaflowne is destined to end the world, Hitomi has several moments of crisis. But after a city-destroying and agonizing but utterly breathtakingly rendered mech battle, Hitomi has an open and honest moment and discusses her wants and needs, allowing Escaflowne to transform into a dragon and fly her into the epilogue, where she decides to stay in Gaia with Vaughn and I guess fuck her parents and everyone that cared about her on Earth because there's an anime sunset to stare at now.
Hey, hold up. Okay, so I had a question about this when I was reading the summary.
Yeah.
That's not what happened in my version of the movie.
It's not?
No, in my version of the movie,
version?
she looks at like the sunset with Vaughn and then asks like, how long do I have? Or Vaughn, whatever. Asks how long I have, and he says, until the mystic moon calls you back. She hears singing, and she gets called back. So...
Oh, yeah. That's the version I also had.
Yeah.
Where they're sitting watching the sunset, they talk, and then she's off screen, and he looks back, and she's gone, because she's gone back to her world. To be with her people.
Yeah, it's the first time she actually gets wings.
Okay, we're seeing Dylan Dow's ending, which is much
shout out
cleaner.
To him.
We have to talk about Dylan Dow.
We have to talk
about
much.
Dylan
He's
Dow.
my little baby. I have a fun fact about Dylan Dow, and I'm very excited to share my fun fact.
I have several fun facts about Dylan Dow. You two are completely right. I don't know how I absolutely perceived the ending as different.
You want to take another read at that, boss?
Yeah, go ahead and take another read at that.
No, I think we should leave this the way it is.
Is that what happens in the show, perhaps? That she decides to stay?
I don't remember what happens in the show.
Did you just stop watching? You got to the sunset and you were like, anime movie sunset, they're probably done. I can leave now.
You can leave. Hey, if they've been looking at the sunset for more than 15 minutes, you can just go.
You can just go.
If shit sucks, hit the bricks.
Okay. Well, no, I think that's really interesting, for whatever reason, because I really appreciate it. I thought they were going to go with the, and now I will have this man's sad dragon blood babies. And I did appreciate that she's like, hey, I was really mean to my friend. I gotta go. I got some shit to clean up.
Her girlfriend.
No, I like her kind of going back also.
We can talk about the gay subtext after the break.
Sure.
Hey, Nico here in the break. Just wanted to let you know that while this is a podcast, and we'll always do our best to describe visuals we're commenting on, we'll also include links to the mechs and images we discuss in the show notes, and post actual photos on our show website. Along with that, make sure to check the show notes for content warnings as appropriate to the episode. That's all for now. Back to the show.
Do you guys want to go kind of beat by beat on this, just kind of broadly, or do you want to jump to something specific?
Okay, I have a note right at the beginning, which is I was looking at the credits and saw that they mentioned Yoko Kanno, and I immediately was like, let's fucking go. We are so back.
The music
music in this.
Nuts.
Even when it's corny, it's good.
And no, it's so good because it's corny unabashedly. It is. Every movement of that mech has a flurry of flutes with it. It is. Everything is beautiful.
No, because there's a specific track that they hit, which I think I referred to in this. Oh, here it is. Goofy Catgirl Jam track.
Yeah, there's also a song called What You Gonna Do.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Anyway, she's a queen, and that's like my note.
I want to talk about the Catgirl.
Merle.
We can't talk about the Catgirl yet.
So Catgirls exist.
Yes. Beast people exist. That's a huge thing in the overall world.
We're going beat by beat. Okay.
Yeah, I think generally let's go beat by beat.
It's, I mean, like, what are they? The Black Dragon Knights, right?
The Black Dragon Clan, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Black Dragon Clan has a very much Japanese hajajami.
Yeah?
Yes.
Give me that word.
Yeah.
Read that word to me.
The kind of overall visual language of this is a lot more like Japan and Asia writ large focus, whereas in the show, everything is like medieval Europe through and through.
I think it's a really interesting mix. Because, like, at the beginning of this, I mean, I think you can't avoid talking about Howl's Moving Castle when you're talking about the aesthetics in play here, because I think they're coming from a very similar, I don't know, imaginary, you know, because like in Howl's Moving Castle, there's a lot of Western structures, Western fashion, medieval, some medieval pieces, a little bit of steampunk in Howl's Castle. But then the war machines look like submarines. They look like tanks. And that's the same here, except we go inside this ship and there are people wearing samurai armor. So I really liked that.
Honorary mech, the Rebels crawler thing is so cool. I love him.
There are so many really cool thingamajigs in this.
The Rebel Collars? You mean the one from the movie Mortal Engines?
So I haven't seen that.
No,
It's
I've
bad.
seen the trailer.
Don't watch Mortal Engines. Don't watch it. I want that joke. I wanted that joke. I was very excited. I was like...
By the way, another thing that is not discussed really enough in the show is that the rebel group is called Abaharaki. So if I say that, that's what I'm referring to, is just those people, Alan's crew.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, this whole thing opens on Van going absolutely balls to the wall, shonen bloody anime.
This opening sequence. I have to be open and vulnerable on the pod real quick.
I'm ready. Give it to me. Open yourself.
There is exactly one thing about this movie that I remembered crystal clear. The sound, the look of it, and it is just literally the first 20 seconds where he like skydives into the crow's nest of the battleship.
Yeah.
I remember that so vividly from my childhood. It's really wild.
It's so well done. And honestly, can I say, I feel like the whole skydiving sequence that you do anytime you go up a Skyview Tower in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is hitting these notes. And I have to think it's intentional because a lot of the aesthetics are the same, especially with the way you fall. Yeah. Like I was watching this and I was like, damn, that Link?
He's holding L or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole sequence is really good. They're like weird samurai power suits that have like exhaust ports are really good. And then you see
I just want to be
Escaflowne.
clear.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He kills the pilot. The pilot is standing there with his hands up, cameras panned out. The commander's dead, everybody's dead, and he's like, nope, no survivors. So we get a really good idea of what this man is about.
Right, he's extremely powerful.
And then the whole rest of the story is weird.
Yeah.
I will say that because
this feels like a different movie.
This first sequence is so bloodthirsty. Yeah, this first sequence is so brutal. No pauses, no hesitations, no captures, no surrenders. He is just he's dropping people. And then the rest of the movie, he's like moving people out of the way, and it's only his brother who's doing like murders or Dylan Dow or like, you know, everybody else is way more vicious, but we saw the first 5 minutes of this movie.
I mean, notably, Vaughn is also the one that tears the horse in half, but yes, otherwise.
Oh, I forgot, and the horse getting torn in half was my favorite part of the movie, so I don't know.
The hangar is sick as shit. We see Escaflowne like all wrapped up in the... I mean, I know, not to reference media that will never be heard by anyone, but like, are you taking notes, War in the Pocket? This is how you cloak a mech in armor and write the check to fill out later, because like, holy crap, it looks, I mean, even just in its little hibernation mode, it looks sick as shit.
It's not just, and this is when we first get evidence that this mech is going to be a little bit different. It's not just like in a tarp, it's in like a crispy, crunchy, organic, weirdly shaped, like hardened mucus shell.
Chrysalis
that
thing,
cracks. Yeah, it's like a chrysalis.
Yeah.
The hanger isn't holding it. It's not, the hanger is not purpose built for it with like special things for dealing with this weird creature. It is if, you know, the hanger is just there to contain this at the time. Like it seems so alien, but still part of the world.
And I love it. I love it. I brought up Howl's Moving Castle. I think one of the things that is a huge visual contrast in that movie, when you're looking at the war machines versus when you're looking at Howl, when he's kind of monstrous and turned, you know, partially into a bird.
Yeah.
Like there's a real contrast between the organic hunter shape of Howl and the, you know, mechanical shapes of the war machines. And I think you get that again in this show, because the war machines, the things that people built to fight wars that are not these suits of old, these ancient Escaflowne, you know, power suits, these mechs, those are mechanical and so different. And the Escaflowne themselves, like the suits, are monstrous in comparison. And I love it.
So I have a question as somebody who didn't watch the anime.
Yes.
The Escaflowne, are these machines that people can build? Are there a finite amount? Who can pilot them? Because it seems like, I mean, they're moving this thing in this carrier as if it is, you know, something wonderful that they've gotten.
So later on,
you
you
only
do
see
them.
two in this whole show, in this whole movie. Yeah.
In this story, there are only two. They aren't very clear, and they never, and as far as I could tell, like nobody outside of the object like elucidates on this, but it is just Escaflowne and Alseides, and they did that on purpose because they wanted the actual mech fight to be really special, and I think that part works really well because that fight is fucking amazing. But
thousands killed. Go on.
The impression that I got is that these mechs were unearthed, like they were from a different age.
Yes.
And then the only people who could pilot them were people with the magic special dragon blood.
Yes. That is kind of I mean, so in the show, there are kind of mechs all over the place. To pilot a mech, you do have to be magical. They're called energists.
Some kind of new type of guy.
But they are
real subtle.
Thank you.
They are like, they are built, I believe. I don't know that we really get where Escaflowne comes from, other than the fact that listen, in the anime, there's like something with Atlantis and how Atlantis people created the world of Gaia. We don't have to get into all that, but they are created. They're built.
Listen, see, I'm fine with this.
Yes.
Because, like, this is my thing. To go off on what seems like an unrelated tangent. Jordan Peele's movies, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially in his early work, he has this, what I referred to as the Stephen King problem, which is where he introduces a cool, inciting incident and then feels like he has to justify/explain it to you.
Sure.
And when you have a really weird, inciting incident, say clones emerging from under the ground, or like, I don't know, race-swapping brain surgery, trying to explain that is always going to feel stilted because it defies explanation.
Yeah.
You don't need to, though. You can just go from there. It's called telling a story, and that's...
You can just find a weird flesh mech in the ground. You can.
Yeah,
it's legal.
That's called an inciting incident. You literally don't have to explain it. So I really appreciated, like, with Jordan Peele, when he did Nope, he didn't explain where that thing came from.
Yeah.
Like,
He
didn't explain it, and I so appreciated it. I felt like the movie was stronger. And so I appreciated this. You know, they give us a little bit of history. It's like, okay, the Escaflowne brought ruin in the past. They're being dug up. There's some kind of ancient thing. But they didn't go, hey, everybody, I'm going to turn my chair around and tell you where Escaflowne come from.
I need to talk about the entire Hitomi segment. This has nothing to do with mecha, but it is one of the most powerful Yuri anime I have seen in many years. And I think laying on the roof with a letter to your best friend about how you're going to kill yourself is just a really good way to introduce a character to the audience, because we're going in with the expectation that this girl already is wanting to hit the self-delete button.
Yeah.
I like a lot of her early characterization. Yeah, I like the scene where she's like stonewalling her in front of the church or whatever, and she's like saying, "Make this annoying girl go away." But then it's like the continuing dialogue is like, "Make me go away because I'm the annoying girl who's hurting her friends." Yeah.
And I did, by the way, look this up because I could not remember if they said her name. I feel like they must have, and I feel like it was printed on the envelope. But the whole rest of the movie, I just thought of her as Hitomi's girl best friend. Her name is Yukari Uchida. So she has a name. It's Yukari. Thank God, because,
I cannot remember this for sure, but I'm pretty sure the show has a more Inuyasha-like feel where she goes back to the real world often. And so, like, that character, she has, like, a crush on one of the jocks, too, that, like, also kind of gets exposited more.
Weird. She has a girlfriend. Why would she have a crush?
Hey, don't erase bisexual high schoolers.
Yeah.
Bisexual Japanese high schoolers who can transport to another world.
But I did love just roasting your friend for their shit to your suicide note.
It was good. It was a good way of coping with it. That whole sequence kind of sets you up for how this movie, it takes a bold direction in its photography and how it frames things. Like, this is just a small her not really fitting in kind of thing, but they shoot it in such a way that it has gravity to it, right? And it shows that, you know, this is really about their internal turmoil in the form of mecha.
Yeah. And I mean, she's very, like, Hitomi to me, especially at the beginning, is very Shinji core. What I like about her situation, though, is that, like, she is a little bit more... Like, Shinji takes like 10 episodes before he even realizes that he has a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's just annoying for a while. Whereas right away we know, oh, okay, she has a problem being vulnerable. She has a problem being genuine. She can't really drop her, you know, like social mask to like say what she wants and what she needs to people.
And we know that she's having some kind of like physical symptoms. I made a note that it was like the way that she was describing like drifting off into sleep during the day and at random times. You know, I was like, go to the clinic and get checked out for narcolepsy or depression at least.
Or chronic fatigue or something.
Yeah.
We also are introduced in that part to my favorite mech in this whole movie, which is her watch. I just want to shout out the watch. It's a really good looking watch.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it comes up a lot, and I just love the, you know, this is the human mechanical thing that she takes from Japan to Gaia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it's a good watch.
It's a really interesting little detail. Because a lot of her outfit is very plain, but the two pieces that end up being really important throughout the rest of the movie are the necklace that has the crystal, which we'll get to, and this watch. So I do think they're very interesting, like, counterpoint details on the rest of her, you know, design.
Well, and there's like a way to which too, like the watch is sort of, I mean, it obviously is just telling time, but there's a way in which you're reminded of like a kind of countdown, in the sense that, like, you know, we're repeatedly told Escaflowne is going to destroy the world. Escaflowne is going to destroy the world. And there's like, I've read a couple interviews with Kawamori, and he like loves this theme of like having a predestined fate and then like using your kind of emotional intelligence to overcome that, which is another thing to me that feels very Star Wars. Then she lands in H.R. Geiger.
She gets isekai'd.
Yeah.
But not by a truck.
Can we define isekai for the layman?
Yes. Isekai, like plainly
she's
translated.
Transported.
Oh, sure.
You do it.
I have a question actually about isekai for Alice, who is our resident expert, I feel like.
Hello.
So I feel like every time I look at isekai, it, like, everyone specifically says that you have to die for it to be isekai genre. I feel like there are plenty of isekai. Like, I would consider Inuyasha isekai. She did not die. She goes between both worlds like every other episode.
Dying is maybe a modern...
Because
I feel like the having to die to travel to a new world is maybe a symptom of a modern sickness, because I don't think it is genre
This is in my notes, too. Like, it translates directly to another world. Falcon literally says the word isekai in the script because it just means another world.
So reincarnation is not it's not required for an isekai. What people get confused with a lot is the isekai and reincarnation. While many reincarnation are isekai,
it's a squares and rectangles.
not all isekai are reincarnation.
Yeah.
So in this case, she's just slipping between the worlds. You see this a lot in anime, and especially this one with Gaia. And it's in kind of some of the shots where they show you the Earth and there's the moon, and here's another Earth. You see this a lot in anime and kind of Japanese lore of the other world, which is literally just one other Earth that's just up there. And this kind of matches this, but this one's hidden, so it's a fun take.
Yeah. It would be genuinely so fucking scary to just be transported into this fucking claustrophobic ass alien cockpit.
Yeah, she was already kind of having a breakdown.
So when she gets transported into it, I was freaked out because like I knew it was going to be in Escaflowne, but the cockpit is this H.R. Giger design.
Yes.
That's horrifying. An Iron Maiden of flesh and bone.
I am going to post a link in the chat. This is just a link of what it looks like to pilot Escaflowne in the show. It's very different. The whole cockpit situation is completely different. This is supposed to be a lot scarier. The Escaflowne is not organic, like literally at all in the show.
This is so steampunk.
It is.
You've literally got brass gears.
Yeah.
This looks way more like armor, whereas the Escaflowne we see looks way more like bone and cartilage.
Like an exoskeleton.
Yeah, like this has like watch pieces in it.
I mean, it's not as cute as Hitomi's.
But like the red indicator on the outside on Escaflowne in the film looks like some kind of almost like pulsating organ. And on this, it looks like a gem or a badge.
It is literally a gem. That is the gem with which Vaughn summons Escaflowne, and he says, "Escaflowne, come to me." So,
wild. Okay, that's a really interesting difference.
Yeah, another interesting difference is that they changed the color of its like shoulder pauldron diamonds to blue in the movie from green. I don't know what the purpose of that was, but just a note.
It's an odd little change that really didn't need to be made.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. But maybe they just really wanted them to be like as different as possible.
I want to talk about how Hitomi cannot pilot this at all. Also, okay, here's something. Hitomi exists. Hitomi appears inside of this. Hitomi is the holder of the gem and can call Escaflowne. She is not the pilot.
Right.
Yeah, she is.
So she has command over this to call on it, but does she?
I'm going to have to go find a drop of Oscar Isaac in that one press interview saying, let's get into gender politics.
Let's get into gender politics.
Yeah. Because, oh boy.
Let's get into gender politics in just a little bit, because I have some startling things to say to you too.
I'm excited.
I'm not ready for this. I've already been taken aback by some of the allegations put forward.
The allegations of gender.
Can we get to the Catgirl now?
We can get to the Catgirl, yeah. Let's introduce our zany cast of...
Yeah, because everybody rolls up. There's a girl delivery, and then the crew rolls up.
The crew shows up like it's a Disney attraction, and they're showing you the cast slightly off of screen, but they're literally all leering at this woman. It is upsetting, and...
It's so overwhelming. I don't understand. I mean, okay, she faints, for one thing. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
And that is the most... Normally, women fainting in media is like such like an eye roll. I would absolutely faint. One of these girls is a cat.
A lot happen in such a short amount of time.
Our queen, our legend of getting overstimulated and just hitting the bricks.
Oh, I have one final design note, expressly pertinent to this sequence. Escaflowne's cape is like also bioorganic and like part of its deployment.
No.
Yeah, if you look at
my notes. I have 2 notes for the sequence where Escaflowne like opens the chrysalis and is like, she's in it, and you're seeing it for the first time. And it is all caps, meat mech, meat mech, meat mech, next bullet, worms, worms, worms. And then the next bullet is, there's catgirls in this, huh?
Yeah.
The cape is worms. I love it.
So yeah, we get introduced to Alice's favorite character who's in a fucking, like, harem anime by herself.
Yeah.
Merle.
Merle is a queen. They call her Hime. They call her Hime because she's the princess of them. It's so cute.
Which is so weird because there is a literal princess in the party. They just don't talk about it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's Merle.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. You're totally right.
This ship has 2 women. One, boob armor. The other, stable girl. Those are the 2 women you can have in this ship.
Yep.
I literally had a note that was like...
The third woman is Alan.
Yeah, I was literally about to say one of my notes just said, oh shit, we got more women. All caps. No, that's a long-haired blonde anime man. Shit.
Glad we all thought that.
Blonde psychopath incoming. Gundam, do you read?
Gundam, do you read me? We need to go through right now. I need you first thought, best thought, favorite member of our merry band. Go. You know mine. It's Merle.
Captain Gaddis. He's serving in that bustier. Got that little bit of midriff. Captain Gaddis.
Mine is Mole Man.
Yeah.
That's his name, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that really? I kept writing down Mole Man is kind of based though. Like he's got it going on.
They gave him a lot more to do in the show. He's like a recurring gag where he just like tries to steal stuff from them. But like he's like a full like soothsayer, and he makes Hitomi her little necklace. I like him a lot.
I love that sequence. Because I was really afraid he was gonna be like to touch on Inuyasha again. Yeah, I was afraid he was gonna be the Moroku.
Yeah.
Because literally Moroku in Inuyasha is a Buddhist monk allegedly. And the pervert character. And I was really braced for this guy to be the pervert character. And I was so pleased when he was just like a weirdo who makes jewelry. Shout outs. This guy has an Etsy.
So yeah, we get a lot of Hitomi being like, where am I? I want to go home. And then everyone being like, well, let me show you the horses. Well, let me tell you about myself. And she's like, but I want to go home. Then they run into, I can't remember exactly what happens.
She literally almost shoves her out the window.
Yes.
Let's talk about safety.
Well, I will say, there is a quick intercut. So it goes from the part where she faints, and we get a quick intercut that I made a note of called We Got a Sasuke, because this is when we meet Van's brother.
Oh, yes, Fulkin.
Yeah, this is when we first meet Fulkin, and we find out there's also elves in this.
Yeah.
There's elves who can foretell the future, and also Vulcan killed all of them but this hot one.
She's like a pet. There is a...
Let's get into gender politics.
Yeah. We're not getting into gender politics, but there is a real energy that a lot of the women on the show are pets. There's an elf, there's a cat girl.
What's the problem? I do want to say, I just really loved, because I was watching this and I was like, ooh, it's ominous. There's a sky fleet. Oh, a giant floating pyramid. Oh my God, is that Rod Stewart? That hair is killer.
I just said this man is...
I do. Actually, my note is Sephiroth got that Goblin King cut.
I know, I said this man is just David Bowie from Labyrinth.
Yeah.
He's got like a mullet, but I appreciate the Rod Stewart because there's a length happening here.
There's a length.
It's that poof.
Anyway,
that poof on the
then
front.
we kind of get back to the crew. We meet them on the rolling caravan, which this thing is a thingamajig.
I love him.
This thing is device core. I love this fucking caravan that they're on.
It's like a barn stapled to a robot centipede, stapled to a weird castle cockpit. It's so weird. Every time it's drawn, it looks like a different machine.
I do want to say, in this movie, it is being pulled by 4 giant, inhumanly large yak, and I just can't abide by that. Honestly, they lost a lot of points for me at that. Like,
I think they're ox, but
I can't imagine those yak are treated well.
I didn't notice that. I thought it was like coal powered or something.
No, I think because they do a couple of like establishing shots where you start at the front, and so you see, I think they're kind of like aurochs, which I think are like ancestors to the ox. Like all the animals in this movie are kind of fucked up, but these are beefy ox and yak things. But yeah, it's a whole device and it's pulled by livestock. Okay.
It's also a 3-wheel vehicle. Like it has 1 front wheel and 2 in the back, which is just peaches.
I love it.
We get our first military ambush, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So not to get into gender politics.
Let's get into gender politics.
Yeah. No, this is the moment because we see Dylan Dow for the first time, and I haven't read.
I'm
We gotta
love-
talk about Dylan Dow.
Look, I have so many thoughts. I kept writing down, oh no, he's hot. Oh no, she's hot. Oh no, he's hot. Multiple times.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where I want to put my Dylan Dow fun fact. So I watched it in Japanese with subtitles. You know, I found it the same source you did, Brian.
Yeah.
I immediately went, I know this man. I've heard this man's voice. Who is this man? I know this man. Because the VO for this character was Minami Takayama, who does a fantastic crazy bitch voice, which you may have also heard as Envy in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh.
So I immediately... I heard that and I was
That's
like,
a crazy
Envy's here?
pull.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I went and looked it up. And yeah, the voice actress who does Dylan Dow is Minami Takayama. And she does a fantastic job because there is just crazy bitch. You know the dick is insane.
All right, let's just pull the cover off of Dylan Dow here.
Yeah, could you please? Because in this, not only are we introduced to Dylan Dow, but over the course of this fight and this ambush, we established that both Vaughn and Dylan Dow have magical powers to fight with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a full in the rain, in a volcano fight between these two suddenly magic.
There's a horse explosion. This is when
We get a horse explosion. We get the reveal of my favorite character in this movie, who is Jajuka, the Lion Man. I love
lion
him
dude.
so much. I had to remind myself he was a bad guy in this scene because I was just like obsessed with him.
he's not a bad guy at any point in this film. I'll just say it. I will say it. We have more thoughts later. He has a very important role.
Yes, he
I
does.
did see him from behind at first and went, oh god, more blonde anime men. But when I saw he was a furry, I'm like, forgiven. I can accept this.
Okay, we get Dylan Dow. Now, in the movie film, Dylan Dow is just an orphan that Fulkin adopted and gave like a transfusion of dragon blood, which is why he's like A, allowed to use those force powers, and B, allowed to pilot the Alseides.
Wild. I didn't know that was a blood transfusion. I thought it was like he was fallen nobility. I thought the implication was that like he was somebody's like third cousin who had a little dragon blood, but not very much. And there's like a line where Fulkin says like, I found you with wild dogs and rehabilitated you.
Yes. In that moment, he also mentions he gave him the blood of the dragon clan.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Hey, in that moment, he also force chokes Dylan Dow and tries
he
to break all of
breaks
his
his
bones.
fingers.
Holy fuck.
Yes, this scene is so brutal, but also it's so beautifully drawn. I could not take my eyes off of
It's
it.
so gorgeous, and it establishes so much about the characters in that scene,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
the like undying loyalty that this man commands.
My note says, oh, you know the Fujoshi of 1997 or whenever we're making crazy doujinshi about this.
I mean,
From like Comic Cat 1.
Yeah.
he is, I mean, we love him. He's a psycho. It's kind of fun. His laugh is crazy. He is kind of like a generic shonen villain in this, where it's just like he's bloodthirsty. He immediately, like his debut is him disobeying orders so he can chase Vaughn to kill him, right?
Yeah, using goblin suicide bombers.
Yes, exploding goblins. We got to talk about Dylan Dow in the show, though.
Okay.
Dylan Dow in the show.
He's as cool, right? He's
he's
just as cool as this.
Minami Takayama is there?
Not problematic at all.
What?
Dylan Dow in the show is Alan's sister, kidnapped and forced to live as a boy.
No!
Yep.
Go on!
Let's get into gender politics.
So, I mean, to me, this just, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to get a lot of what Shoji thinks boys and girls like, and I also think we're going to get a lot of what he thinks boys and girls view as a threat and are afraid of, right?
Yeah.
So Dylan Dow in the show is like someone who has been forcibly stripped of her femininity, and that's supposed to be something that shows him as increasingly scary as time goes on, because there's an arc where they take him back and they like turn him quote unquote back into the princess that he's supposed to be, and she is just comatose. Like she's just fully, like, her girl personage has been completely eliminated.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So like it's so interesting how in the shonen version, my read of it is that I feel like Kawamori thinks that boys don't necessarily care about that, right? So he's just kind of like a disaster twink.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like to see him being sort of twisted in that way, and like I don't even know what pronouns to use for him in the show. So there's that.
That's complex.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I get why you couldn't get into that in a movie, but also that's such amazing writing for this era. I mean, I know they were a lot more fluid in this era of anime because, you know, they could be a little weird, but that's... Why did we watch the movie and not the show? The show seems cooler.
But it kind of sucks though, right?
It does kind of suck though, because I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of freight about what the role of women and the role of men is in this kind of movie, and I haven't seen the show. But to know that there's almost like choose your gender versions of this idea, you know, between the show and the movie, and the boy toy version of this, they're like, okay, we can't even get into whatever the fuck is going on with Dylan Dow.
It's also like let's make this person as fucked up as possible by making them trans.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's my feeling. Like, and it's so hard with older media because it's like, you know, in America we had to reckon with the Hays Code,
right?
But like there is such a thing in older media. It's like, okay, here's some trans rep. They're also probably the character with the most kind of like fucked up shit happening with them.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to weigh that when you're like,
I mean, like, we love forced femme, but it has to be done in a way that's good. Forced men?
And this is
what's the opposite of forced femme?
I think it's interesting if we're thinking about like, why would Fulken, it's Fulken who made the choice to basically, you know, force mask Dylan Dow, right? In the show? Or is it someone else?
It's him, and there's also the show is also concerned on like with a kind of nationality thing where there's two opposing empires in the show.
Yeah.
There is like an old man emperor that's above Fulken in the show that also has a lot to do with that. But yes, I'm pretty sure Fulken has the same proclivity in the show, and something that's really interesting imperially in the show too is that a lot of the bad guys that Fulken orders around are like subsumed from the good empire. There's Dylan Dow who is kidnapped. There's a lot of orphans being like manufactured into soldiers kind of thing. So
but I think it's interesting. Go ahead.
It has a lot of Rome vibes. When Rome would conquer smaller empires and the Gaelic people, they would force marriages and kind of intersect with the conquered people because it endows you to them. And there's a lot of fascist empire ideology that comes out even just in this movie with how he is approaching his conquest of the world. And I think this is the deepest extreme of it. It's like if you took a Boudica and you were like, no, we got to cut them titties off.
Yeah.
And it's done in such a way.
If we want you to be a general, you have to be our version of a general.
Exactly. You can't go off and attack on your own. You fall in line, right?
And that's kind of what I was getting at. That really dovetails with my thought, which is, you know, Fulken is making people into tools. Literally, Fulken is the one that brings Hitomi into this and casts her as the wing goddess.
He has such a fascinating kind of dynamic with her where it's like it seems like he's manipulating her at first, but then by the end you realize he just actually fundamentally misunderstands.
Yeah, but like he's looking to make people into tools and find them roles that serve him. And so the idea that Dylan Dow literally, it's like, okay, you have potential, but I need you to function in this way. And this story kind of has an imaginary where there really isn't a woman fighter. There is not a crazy bitch to idolize in this. Dylan Dow has to be that. And like I said, it's like, you know, you watch the film, you just read him as male because that's the only way he's addressed in this film and presented. But yeah, this is, it's like, okay, you were masculinized because this is the capacity in which you can enact violence. And if we try to bring you back into a feminine space, you literally have nothing because your whole life is violence. And now we've taken the gender association with, it's so complicated. Like, it's really complicated, but it is interesting. And I think that that's an interesting subtext to have now for the Dylan Dow that we get in the movie, which is of course flattened, like, because we don't even really get Alan. So
yeah, and I don't think that they're supposed to be related at all in the movie necessarily, because a lot of what comes of that in the show, like I said, has to do with the dueling empire plotline. There's not really. I'm unclear on whether or not Zybok is the name of the evil empire in the show. I'm unclear as to whether or not that exists, or it's just the Black Dragon Clan conquering everybody. Either way, Fulkin is at the top of it, but and I think you're right about him kind of like his motivations. I mean, ultimately he's just kind of like a boring nihilist, but his machinations throughout, like,
I think I made a note that he's an accelerationist.
He is.
Like, he's like, well, everything sucks, so let's just wipe the board.
Yeah.
Well, it really, because Hitomi is not satisfied with her life, right? Like, a lot of what, there's a lot of parallels between her and him, but she chooses cool giant robots instead of the destruction of the world. And I think we can all take from that lesson, the cool giant robot. Oh,
don't kill yourself. There could be mechs.
Here's my thought, and I guys, I can't express this enough. I don't want to keep talking about gender ideology. But there's a lot of parallels in this to the shogunate era of Japan. And so Escaflowne and its counterpart both feel like samurai armor. And I know there's like people wearing samurai armor in this, but they are the samurai armor because in that era, you know, family would have a suit of armor, kind of like an English knight, and you would pass it down. And to be a knight and to be able to afford that armor and to wear that armor, you were unbeatable on the battlefield. Same with a samurai. And it was always the man, right? Men go to war, women stay at home. And this whole movie kind of, this is a war waged by men, and the women are on the sidelines. They are watching. They are just there as kind of tools to be fought over for, right? Like, Hitomi is a prize for the main guy, and I don't know what she is for Vaughn.
Sora, his elf, is like an advisor, but mostly literally at one point she says, I am here to witness.
Yeah.
I love her arc. I just want to say I love her arc of all of my people are dead. I'm just going to feed information to this guy and then watch him die in front of me.
I love her relationship with Fulkin. She's just straight up like, you're going to lose, you're going to die. And he's like so delusional. He's like, yes, you're right, I will die when I win and I end the world. And you're like, no, bitch, that's not what she said, but go off, I guess.
He literally is keeping her around to neg him.
I hated her role, but keep me humble. Keep me humble. Keep talking.
He's like, well, I don't want to just have yes men, so I'll have a no women.
This movie really says no women.
Yeah. So
can we talk about the cultural appropriation?
What?
Of the beast folk?
Oh my God,
I want to talk about the cultural appropriation of beast folk. So when they're in the beast folk village after our main lady is like, I can fix him. He's literally an angel because he grows wings. Then they're recovering, and she's like, "I'm gonna wear the native clothing. I'm one of you now." And they're like, "Yes, our savior, the Dragon King," and he's just a dude. I love it.
I don't feel like that's what's going on there, but I do think we have to back up because we did skip over possibly the most important part of this movie, which is when Hitomi decides to dedicate her fucking life to this guy she just met.
I can fix him.
Yeah.
I can fix him.
It drove me nuts. It drove me nuts. I have a note where it's like, I know how painful it is to live a miserable life and just hurt others. You have your dead clan, and me, I quit track. And I just...
I also think this moment is a little bit, like, shows her as kind of hypocritical in a way. Because she's like admitting that she cares for someone. She's admitting that she can be there for someone, but only because he's unconscious and can't respond.
And I feel like, so, yeah.
I love that. No, keep going. I was just, my mind is blown by the concept.
Yeah, because he literally can't affirm that. She can just project on him.
Yeah.
So I want to like circle back real quick to something Yukari, her friend who has a name, and anyway, Yukari says very early in this, "Oh, you're just listless because you don't have a boyfriend. If you had a boyfriend, you would not be listless." And this movie posits that she was correct.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah, this, yeah.
Literally, all you need to do to start caring about life is find a man to completely tether yourself to for no reason, and that will give you purpose, and it will fix you.
Hey, there's a reason. There's a reason.
Because
he had a cut in his arm, and she put a scarf on it.
Yeah.
They're in love.
I will say, I do want to comment very briefly on animation.
Okay.
This is a beautiful show. Like, we've talked a little bit about,
This
like, just, like, the
movie's
artist really well done.
gorgeous.
But there is a moment here where Vaughn has, like, grabbed her and he kind of pulls her into his body, because I think Dylan Dow is confronting them, or it might have been the lion
There's
guy
like
at this point. I don't know.
There's a psychic Jedi battle where he, like, explodes
Yeah,
the
there's a
horse
lot.
and then flings Dylan Dow into the sky.
On Mustafar, in the rain.
On Mustafar in the rain.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where Vaughn, like, pulls Hitomi to him, and the physicality of the way that is drawn, her body actually seems to have weight. And there are moments throughout the show where someone, like, puts their hair behind their ears or, like, moves in a certain way. There is such physicality to the animation in this, and it's really beautiful. Like, for whatever other gripes I may have, like, this was a nice visual feast to watch.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I will say, like, right after that scene, there's a scene where Hitomi is on a very obvious drawn cliff that's gonna crumble, and it did feel like an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon, where it's like, oh, these rocks are all about to crumble, huh?
Yeah.
I can tell because they're not the painted background.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, so ultimately, as a consequence of this, they have to go to the Beast Folk Town, which, Alice, I think you're right. I mean, Nico, you said that there was something that you thought something else was going on here, but I kind of read it the same way, where it's like this group of quote-unquote foreigners shows up with only Merle as kind of like a translationary aid, but they're like instantaneously in love with Vaughn. Which was just kind of weird. It's very like, oh, I'm going to come to this temple and learn Kung Fu, and in 2 days I'm going to do Kung Fu better than anyone else in this temple, even though I'm from Boston.
Can I say the controversial thing? Oh, sorry, Alice, go ahead.
Concept from the show. In the show, is he also known as the prince? Like, is that do people like, oh, he's fighting the evil empire kind of thing? Because that's
complicated. No, but he is actually a prince in the show.
Oh, okay.
I think by blood.
Nico.
So I'm going to say the controversial thing, which it's pretty self-evident now. I feel like, there will be people who, are like, no, I think they were doing something else. Beast folk in this stand in for any, like, non-majority ethnic group.
Sure.
Like in the West, that would be white versus everybody else. And in, if we're thinking about Japanese animation, that would be people who are considered the ethnic majority Japanese versus any other group or nationality. The Beast folk stand in for pretty much any nation that gets exploited. We get that with Vaughn talking to the hyena people who are like,
Jajika's
we didn't
whole
have a goddamn
deal,
we didn't have a choice. And yeah, it is the whole thing with, say Lion Man's name one more time.
Jajika.
It's Jajika's whole thing. And he says the quiet part loud at the end, but like through this whole thing, the Beast folk are marginalized people. And when they go to the village, they're presented as the simpler folk. They live simpler lives.
Yeah.
And this is the most feudal Japan we have seen a village look. You know, because when the fight goes on later, the Mechs, that's a way more Western-looking town. People are wearing more Western-looking clothes. It's definitely more urban. Here with the Beast folk, they are simple people, and they are living a life that looks more like feudal Japan.
Yeah.
And I definitely think there's a lot to unpack there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, just you think of the White Fleet and the opening of Japan, I mean, the sky ships coming in and taking over these people with their modern things.
The sky ships coming in the reflection of those like sprawling geometric rice paddies was like one of the coolest things.
Oh, that whole fleet movement.
Now, the important thing is
the drop ships with the troops. I can't. Yeah. It was so much.
There's something going on here.
You could have just landed.
In terms of like, and this is again, I mentioned Ghibli before, but like the contrast between kind of a pastoral cult return to nature presentation of this idyllic village of simpler people represented by beast folk.
Well, and this is also like supposed to reinforce Hitomi's desire to like save the world, right?
Yeah, because these people exist. Like there are good, simple, again, and what I was getting at, the trope I wanted to name was just the white savior trope. This isn't literally that, but it is functionally that.
Yes, I completely agree.
But no, I mean, This reflects for me kind of the same thing you see in Ghibli's work, which I don't have the Japanese cultural perspective to completely speak to it, but you can definitely extrapolate this is what imperial industrialization will do to a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like this deep anxiety that is expressed. Yeah.
Would you say that this is the Industrial Revolution and its consequences?
Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, this is a big, you can see it in this, you can see it in Noskov, the Valley of the Wind.
The evil guys have exhaust ports. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, like there's definitely, it's so interesting to see this reverberate throughout culture, but especially like in anime to see this presented plainly.
Small detail that is like evil and really cool to me. Their horses also have exhaust ports. Like their horses like chuff directly into like a muffler.
What the fuck?
It's I think it looks so cool.
I remember. Oh, yeah. It was so good.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think we lose a lot of character development in this because as they are leaving, they're calling Hitomi, you know, One-chan, come back and visit us. And there's a glimpse that in this world, she's living a much more fulfilling life now that she has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't see it on screen because it is a shonen, not a shoujo.
Yeah.
But that's my last thought on it is whatever happened in that village, she suddenly has come to life and found a reason.
Anyway, we come back from the village. We cut to they've stopped at like a tavern and now they're in a city. And that's where we get these lounge singers apparently singing a cultural lullaby.
Yeah.
They're getting everybody asleep. Tell me about Dryden.
Yeah, tell me about this guy.
Tell me about Dryden.
I mean, who is this man? I don't know this man.
In the movie, he's just like a weirdo like bartender who like doesn't want to be caught harboring the rebels, basically. I'm going it purely off of memory on this. In the show, he is like he's like Alan, where he's like a fallen lord of the good empire.
No, okay.
But he, in my recollection, I may be wrong, I'll issue a no-tap apology later if I am, he is the Moroku of the show to me, in my memory.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering if that was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just get like 4 minutes, like not even 4 minutes. We get like 4 seconds of this guy. So it's really hard to form an impression. At first you're like, oh, there's another ally and he's got their friends there and yay, he's facilitating the meeting back up.
And he's wearing his sunglasses inside at night.
But then like the rest of it is just like...
he's a scumbag.
Yeah, the rest of it I'm like, okay, who the fuck is this man and what does he want? Because he just seems like kind of an asshole and yet... we just really don't get enough because we go straight into the Dillendow stuff from here. The
point of this is to reunite everybody, right? Like his pub is where they go when they get separated because they were separated until this point.
The scene after this with Dillendow where we have the plague doctors who have the coolest fucking masks and they are literally implanting Dillendow into this mech. There is so much of him being strapped into this and just wires and tubes everywhere.
I've decided every lesbian, when they watch an anime, gets a special little boy, a special little man who is her favorite. I think this, just talking this through with y'all, Dillendow is my Blorbo.
He's your wretched little meow meow.
Dillendow is my little man. I am rotating him in my mind. I'm obsessed with him. And I love them just like, yeah, let's wire into his whole body. Holy
his experience in this movie is just pure agony, right? I mean, he goes literally, we almost smash cut from him being force limb broken by Fulkin. And Fulkin just says, hey, by the way, do you want like more power than anyone else in the world? And he's like on the floor agonizing and is just like, yeah, I'm good. And then he's like
the robot,
sewn
Shinji.
into a mech. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Who is worse, Gendo Akari or our man? Who is worse?
Gendo.
Fulkin or Gendo Akari? Who is worse?
I think Gendo Akari.
Gendo Akari's worse.
Because Dillendow, at least, he already a little fucked up. You know, it's not ethical to put him in this fucking horrific meat contraption, but he's also like ostensibly a consenting adult. Even if it is uninformed and compromised consent, Gendo is a child. Or not Gendo, Shinji is a child. So
yeah, and also
God.
From a pure motivational standpoint, Gendo is so lame. Just like Gendo is a great character and like writ large in the mechanism of anime, but like his primary motivation vis-a-vis his twisted view of doing right by his dead wife is so lame compared to Fulkin's like this sucks, let's wipe the board thing.
I
Accelerationist.
think Vulcan's thing is more, I should get a Japanese schoolgirl to come be my bride. But
Yeah, that's fair. That's a point.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He is doing all of that.
My note here is, I think Dylan Dow's arc is what Franz Kafka was getting at with Metamorphosis. Because he turned into a bug.
He turned into, I mean, yeah, in this moment, I cannot state enough how much Alseides looks like a big bag of flesh.
Oh my God, it's a flesh bug.
It is pink, it's bleeding, it looks like a fetus, kinda.
Yeah, I wrote, this mech literally rips and tears.
We have to go back for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to go back for a second and talk about, because we were just talking about how beautiful this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
There is a moment in the cabaret lounge bar where we pan past what is ostensibly supposed to be a man laughing, and it is beyond. It's beyond. I have to find it right now.
I did not catch that. Did not catch it at all.
Damn, I can't find it. Maybe we'll drop it in later. But it is literally, he is like on his own cell in the background, fully vibrating. It is so it clanged to me. It's like the worst bit of animation in this entire 90-minute production.
You can't win them all.
Yeah. Anyway, moving forward.
This is the moment when I realized that the only woman in this so far who doesn't feel like either a tool or a pet is Malerna, the boob armor chick, and she hasn't done anything.
She doesn't do anything.
She literally shows up, throws a knife down, and is like, "What up, my man? I'm here."
Yeah, like she gives Hitomi the exposition dump in the beginning, and then that's like it. At first I was like, oh, is she a healer? But she just doesn't do anything. I have no idea what she does.
She's a princess.
I think at this point we get a flashback to like Vaughn's backstory. I think he's like trying to explain to Hitomi like why the fuck shit is so...
Why she should choose the destruction of the world.
Yeah. Well, no, but Vaughn is trying to explain like what the dynamic with his brother is. And my note here is Vaughn last name walked so Sasuke Uchiha could flop in the dirt.
Oh, how brutal.
It's literally my whole clan was annihilated and my brother tried to kill me, so now I have to kill my brother. I'm like, oh no, so literally, this is the same story. And I mean, this is probably a really... I don't want to say typical story because that implies that like culturally people just do this in Japan, which is not true. But it feels like a trope.
I'm pretty sure they do this in Japan.
To me, this actually feels like one of the more medieval tropes, actually, like Western tropes, because
that's true.
One of the bigger things about Sasuke's deal is that like they were both manipulated by imperialism to have this feud with each other. But anyway, the bigger thing that Falcon originally has an issue with that causes their rift is a succession problem. Vaughn gets named as the next king, even though Falcon is the older sibling. And this like spurs his whole deal of like, oh, I'm not the king. I'm gonna burn the universe down.
Clearly the board is fucked and we gotta reset the board, which that does certainly undermine his otherwise pretty cool just like entropy based mission.
Can we talk about the mecha?
Yes.
Can we talk about, we need to go through this fight. So a ghost of our man appears and talks to Hitomi, and then it's time to have the throwdown. And it starts with your boy blowing up half the town to start.
Dylan Dow, my king.
Dylan Dow just starts nuking things, and then we get him getting into the Escaflowne to pilot it. This whole scene.
Hitomi, I will note, Hitomi unwillingly summons it.
Yes, she's begging it not to come.
We all know how that goes. All right. Yeah. But it lands. He gets in it.
He gets in it. He starts walking, and we see... So when he gets in it, something I really love. So we saw him getting his counterpart. Give me the name again.
Dylan Dow.
Dylan Dow.
I'm writing this down. So we see Dylan Dow literally getting hooked up to this. So for Vaughn, things drill into his veins. To connect him to the Escaflowne.
Yeah, remember the cool clockwork sequence in the show?
No. We inject it now.
The act of piloting these mechs is like agonizing. They're both screaming in pain.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so interesting because there's so much screaming in mecha as a genre, but it rarely has little to do with the physical like sensations they're feeling as a result of literally moving their bodies. You know what I mean?
It's usually about emotional pain.
So I thought that was just one of the coolest things.
Yeah, they're literally, because there's a lot of mecha anime where, you know, like Pac-Ram, right? They feel what they're feeling, but it's like, it's haptic feedback. It's a PS move or something, right? But
the worst that happens in that film is like Raleigh reveals that, you know, like when the arm was ripped off of his Jaeger, the mesh in his hard suit like burned into his body. And so you can see on the side of his body where the arm was ripped off of the Jaeger, he has burns. So there's a little bit of translation, but it is not as literal as this.
Yeah, in this fight, so they're flying around, hitting each other. There's lasers all of a sudden.
Vaughn pulls the head off of Dylan Dow's mech at one point, immediately.
The sound of the crunch. So all of the movements in this, you really are just hearing this thing, and it just sounds like cracking cartilage, bones breaking as it's just moving.
Whenever a weapon is drawn,
the sword's being drawn. Yeah.
And there's crunching, like, oh, it's so good.
And they're walking, and the weight of their units is breaking buildings and like falling through things, and it like you feel this thing moving.
And this leads into the cosmic battle. You know the one I'm talking about.
Which one?
Between good and evil. Good and evil. You know, and where revenge can feel righteous, but it leads us down a dark path. Symbolized by, perhaps...
What dark path?
Our mech literally turning black.
It's a really subtle visual metaphor that they go with here.
There's a storm, too.
So, I love in mecha when...
Listen, it's anime.
I love in mecha when the main mech goes through a sudden late in the game transformation to its next power level like it's a Sentai show.
Magical paint job.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love them.
Magical paint job. I lost my mind at this point. I'm going to have to do the gender politics drop again.
What is gender?
Because I lost my fucking mind at this point. Because this is about the point. So Vaughn gets fucking red-pilled. Like, he's like, I've got to kill this motherfucker. I've got to kill my brother. I have the weapon to do it. It doesn't matter that it's literally destroying my body. I'm going evil mode. I'm going dark mode. There's a storm. Like, all this is going on. And
I've trounced the other unit. There's nothing that can stand in my way.
He's literally about to deliver the killing blow to Dylan Dow, but crucially hasn't. And then there is a moment where he and Hitomi, like, spiritually connect or whatever. And I lost my fucking mind.
Because she has a vulnerable gamer moment?
Because she literally goes to comfort his inner child.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find Sigmund Freud's corpse and light it on fire.
Yeah, it's not really what you want to see. There's another
Between
thing
this
here.
and Sora, the elf woman, the whole feel of this seems to be between Sora and Falcon and Hitomi and Vaughn is that women must soften men. It is cosmically important, or else their dicks will lead them to evil.
Yes.
I do want to say, though, I really love that they got the same guy who did the Take On Me music video for this segment. It really shows.
Turn away from my mic, I just peeked hard.
Yeah, my favorite part is when Hitomi reaches through the grocery aisle and pulls Vaughn into the pencil world to show him that truly men are truly not all men.
She's literally not all meaning fem-selling it right now really hard in this
There's
whole
another
thing.
really inconsequential, very loose, not very gender politics thing here too. Mm-hmm. We saw an elaborate, agonizing sequence of Dylan Dow getting sewn into this mech. Mm-hmm. He just hops out and runs away and says, "Fuck this." He literally says, "I'm out."
When they did this,
King, I love him. I'm rotating him.
After massive destruction, what has to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people killed in the background, Dylan Doll just pops out and goes on another adventure, and I love it for them.
It sucks. Hit the bricks.
After connecting with your inner child, you unlock the ability to transform into a dragon, which is a little
can I
fun
real
fact.
quick?
Yeah.
Real quick. Hitomi during this moment is like, listen, I know what it's like to be alone. And I had another breakdown because your friend from track, Yukari, you know your friend who has a name?
Who?
Spent the whole day with you after your would-be suicide.
What?
Like,
Who?
that just wasn't a romance, but you were not alone. There was a friend who did everything she could to spend the rest of that day with you.
Not a good look for our gal.
A marriage cannot fix you.
Not a good look for our gal.
Anyway, okay, it turns into a dragon. We're good.
I've been stewing on this. I think I hate this dragon.
It looks like Yu-Gi-Oh!
I need you to expand on it.
It looks like the cursed dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you! Hold on, cursed dragon. I'm posting this in the chat.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh! A mecha?
We have asked that twice now. I feel like we're going to end up caught in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Death spiral if we are not careful.
We have to be very careful because in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, where they play many other different games besides the one in the show.
Game.
Fucked up if true.
There is, I believe, a robot arc.
Oh, God.
So in this part, they ride on the back of Escaflowne, so this whole time Escaflowne was its own autonomous thing? It just hasn't moved before.
I like this a little bit. And here's what I'll say.
It's been kind of autonomous since the beginning because it bent down, released Hitomi, and then like pieced out into a jewel on its own.
When you want it to be something you can use to fight other people, it exacts a price. When you're willing to accept it for what it's literally the curse of dragon. Fuck, it's literally Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay. But with Escaflowne, when you are trying to fight other people, when you need it to be a suit of armor, it extracts a blood price. But when you let it be its own thing, which is apparently a dragon, which makes sense because everybody's been doing Dragon Clan shit this whole time, there is no blood price. You can just ride it like your good friend, the dragon.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for that. You can just ride a dragon.
What's the dragon from the Neverending Story? That goofy looking thing?
That goofy looking thing.
Respect to Homestuck Made This World. I forgot its name.
Oh, God. I don't know. It's the thing from Neverending Story. I forget. Yeah. I'll drop it in if I remember.
Hurry, Falcon! The nothing's everywhere!
This is the point where Vaughn is like, can't wait to use my big heterosexual dragon to eat my brother. Like, and they fly up to confront Vulcan. And this is where we get Sora, the elf, going, I'm just here to watch, champ.
She literally says, I will remain here, Lord Falcon, to witness your death.
And he's like, yes, my death.
Which, I really want a woman to say that to me. Like, that's all I really want, you know?
My note here says, Sora, I hope you just watch him die and don't, like, die for him or as a result of his actions, but I get the sense you were damned by the narrative from the start. I did not have good vibes heading into this.
It's where we fall apart, truly. We have a weird psychic battle.
In a hallway.
Yeah, in a hallway.
In just a hallway.
A hallway. And Hitomi's like, oh, poor Falcon. I had depression too until I tied all of my self-worth to a man. Has he tried fucking a man? And she is making points.
And then he does get penetrated by a man, I will say.
I know.
Yes, he does.
Oh, hey, Lion Man. I thought you died.
I actually really liked that that's how it happened. Not that it was stealing it from Vaughn and everything, but because of Vaughn and Hitomi's journey, not having them be the one to
do the final violence,
stab him.
I loved it and I hated it.
It was a W that the Beast people deserved. A.
Yeah.
Followed quickly by the L of
and B, I love everything Jajika does, so.
Followed by the L of the castle crashing into the city, killing countless more.
I'm saying.
Fucking Sokovia moment. Oh my God. No, but I did say, like, shout outs to the Lion Dude for literally being an animalistic allegory for race and oppressed peoples, I guess. But, like, his function, as good as it feels for, like, him to get, I guess, collective revenge for everyone who isn't part of the Dragon Clan nationalist blood feud, it's so that the hero's hands stay clean. This is a huge part of the hero's journey narrative. This, like, return to, you've lost innocence, but in the end, you are still a good man. Like, you can't actually bloody your hands any further. You can't actually kill the villain. So the oppressed beast man who stands in for every person of color in the world does it for you. And so your hands remain clean, and he dies anyway. And of course, Sora the elf woman is going down with the ship. Viking funerary shit.
It sucks.
I had another breakdown here.
That sucks. She says several times she exists to witness Hitomi come into the world. Your goddess is right there, and you're just gonna, like, peace out.
Hit the bricks with her.
I'm saying.
No, she's there to witness.
Go to Japan.
Her journey is over. What I love about this, absolutely love about this is it kind of establishes that this entire castle she was holding it up with her power to get to this moment. This whole time.
I hadn't thought of that.
She has been here just to come to witness this moment. So I love her story for that because her people were subjugated. All of this was happening. She saw into the future and she's like, I'm going to wait for the goddess of wings, the wing goddess. And then it happens. And I watched him die. And all right, I'm done. I can die now.
Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm choosing to incorporate this into my belief system. Every time she was singing and like the whole ship was glowing, yeah, she was recharging the battery. And when she decided to peace out from this mortal plane, it's like, okay, you're fucked. Get off the ride. It's falling apart. Oh. Anyway, I get a little fuzzy here on what happens next. My important note, my crucial note is a crazy bastard survived. Shout outs to mental illness.
My note on this is we cut to Dylan Dow cutting his losses and running away with his gay homies into the sunset. That's a huge W. Dylan Dow got the best ending.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to see where he goes. I'm cheering for Dylan Dow. We also get to see something. We can talk about the ending, right? I mean, we're already deep in the ending.
Let's get into it.
Like, she returns to her world, and the link between them severs between Earth and Gaia.
Before that, real quick.
Oh.
Which I always knew was happening. I always understood the ending as this, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
No, but before this, they go back to the simple, peaceable village, right? And Merle's back, and she's like the princess of this village. This is the first time I find out that Merle matters.
Merle always mattered.
It's like, oh, like you're...
She's like just reading to children. I don't know that she's the princess, but she's like having fun with the kittens or whatever.
Yeah, and I had another breakdown where I was like, oh yeah, Merle, she's brown and an animal and part of the simple village. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here?
And her motivation, her whole motivation and backstory, both in the movie and the show, is that she's in love with Vaughn. There's nothing else.
I do appreciate, I will say she does kind of get a W. Because with Hitomi piecing out, she gets her man. Like, and at the end of it, he was like, hey, Merle, let's go home. Like, Vaughn did not forget she existed. He had this weird psychosexual thing happening with Hitomi for a minute, but Merle was holding it down, you know. She was waiting, and in the end, she got her man. So, like, shout-outs to her, but also, oh, God.
Not to pit women against women, but there's a brown cat lady in Outlaw Star that is just way cooler, and I can't help but think of her.
The subcategory of character.
I think they can coexist. In the ranking of cat girls, which we will have to do at some point, once we have collected enough.
Yeah.
Because they'll come up as a theme. But yeah, we get this scene where she's just like, I'd like to stay here. I feel happy. And her being content lets her go back to her world. And you get the beautiful shot where, you know, the connection between Earth and Gaia severs. And she can finally go home to her girlfriend, Yukari, who has a name.
Yeah, who has a name. Thank you, Yukari, our friend Yukari. Yeah, I immediately was like, okay, so you're going home. So are you going to live for the memory of Vaughn, or like, are you going to be this depressed again tomorrow? Because I don't know how permanent of a fix any of this was for the shit she had going on.
Look, all I'll say, I don't know what to do with this ending. All I'll say is that Seifuku is dirty as hell. You know that laundry is not up to par.
Oh, she's got to burn it. She's got to get a new one made. Like that's that one's done for.
There's a real fun part that I noticed, because these are the things that you look for in like a shoujo or a shonen, is after the battle, as they're flying away and everything, and he's like holding her, she's suddenly wearing lipstick. Like, hasn't been wearing lipstick this whole time, but the way that they draw it,
I did not catch that either.
Her lips are full and plump. She is ready. She is breathable. And
no, I do feel like there is a little bit of a discrepancy between the animation that's happening when there's kind of full body action happening and when there's kind of more focus on the face. And I do feel like everyone's lips are a little bit more emphasized when there's focus on the face. But you know what? I'll believe it. I'm with you. I'm joining this. I'm incorporating this into my belief system.
If you go back and see it, it's not just drawn differently. It is a clearly different color and tone than the rest of her skin.
That's what you get when you survive a psychic death
That was
battle.
the dragon armor's final gift to her, was a lip plumper from Buxom Beauty. So
Hey, it's your girl Hitomi here reviewing the new Dragon Demon Lord's lipstick. Let's try it out.
Doing the influencer hand.
I was moving my hand the whole time I was talking.
let's rank these mechs, these two mechs. Which mech wins?
Do we want to do our closing thoughts real quick?
Oh, was that not closing thoughts? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I have one more, which is just... That was a really bizarre movie. I felt like the story was a little bit run of the mill, but I liked the mechanical imaginary. I liked the technology of the time, not actually rivaling the mechs of Ruin and Era's Gone, because those are like bone and meat and blood magic. Like, I love that contrast. I loved a lot of the like world building pieces that were in this and the kind of lush way that these things were drawn and animated. So I had a good time, even though I had like 4 breakdowns and wanted to strangle the ghost of Freud.
I have to tell you that, I mean, you already know this, but
yeah,
like you're the anime, #anime.
I know.
And I'm not saying that we should excuse anime because this is an exciting. I think we should pause and talk about this every time.
I think we should excuse anime. I think.
I'm glad we have Alice here to excuse anime.
I think it can be excused.
I'm glad we have Alice here to grant anime absolution.
Yeah, Alice, what are your closing thoughts on this?
I want to say that while organic mechs aren't my favorite thing, I really liked the 2 in this. I will say this movie felt long, but as far as like the mech and the story, honestly, this made me want to watch the show. Not for more of this particular feeling, but for more of these characters, because the runtime of the movie, I don't feel like I get enough of the harem aspect. And I really wanted that. But my last thought is it's a really cute watch, and I just want to know where she got it, because I have watches, but it's like a very nice digital watch that and it matches. It's color coordinated with her outfit. So
these are the issues. I'm glad we're focused.
What about you, Brian? What are your final thoughts?
Let me give you a rundown of my whole deal. No, I'm just kidding. This is like this. I feel weird about this movie because I like the movie more than I like the show, mostly because I tend to like the tropes and the kind of like artifacts of shonen anime over shoujo anime, and also I have never really known how to feel about Dylan Dow in the show, but the visuals, I watched this with my dad like at a very young age, along with a lot of other anime. And this, when I think of huge things moving around, when I think of like the physicality and limits of what anime can present, I think of this movie. And so like for that reason, I can't like be super like it's hard for me to take a step back. I think it has a lot of problems, but ultimately, I think it's a very cool piece of animation. I think it's visually just some of the shots and some of the like sequences in this are just like. They deserve to be enshrined forever. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think we're so lucky that this came out before Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, because we could have gotten that era of computer animation, but instead everything is hand-drawn.
This is one of the last bastions of hand-drawn, yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
So...
Thank you, Alice, for really... I'm feeling gratitude.
I'm feeling gratitude in this closet tonight.
Brian, you can leave the closet. It's okay.
I can leave the metaphysical closet. I cannot leave the physical closet. The recording closet.
No, we need that.
Okay, now I think we can get into the mechs.
Yeah, so there are, let's decide actually, are there 2 mechs or do the watch and the crawler count as mechs?
Okay. I'll give it. The watch is not a mech.
Got it.
While it is piloted by Hitomi, it is not a mech. It is mechanical.
I think there are 4 different mechs we need to discuss in this.
Okay.
And 3 of them are the same mech.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. I agree.
Yeah.
Actually.
So there's my main man, my rotten soldier, my sweet cheese, my precious boy. There's his bug mech. That is one. And then there are the 3 forms that we see of Escaflowne, which are original flavor, red pilled, and Curse of the Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah.
What about Flaming Hot?
Oh, does it go Flaming Hot at one point?
No, sorry, that's Bug. Bug goes Flaming Hot.
Oh, Bug goes Flaming Hot. Okay, so maybe there's 5 mechs to discuss, but...
Alice, what are your rankings of these 4 disparate but also the same mechs?
So I want to start with Buggy.
Okay.
I think Buggy is built sturdy but fast, has an amazing range of armaments, including ranged weapons. I'm gonna put him, honestly, I love his design, and I love how the pilot controls him, because while Dylan Dell is strapped in there, Dylan Dell looks like he is having the best time.
He's thriving.
So I'm gonna give that one a 9. It's not perfect. There are things that could be improved, but it did what it came to do, which is to wreck everything. As far as Escaflowne, or as the Georgian orchestra would say, Escaflowne! I'm just gonna lump all three in one, because I feel like it's a transforming mecha. It's okay. It has pauldrons, it has a cape, it is a hero's mech. Is it great? Does it do anything cool? No, it pulls a blood sword out. That's its one little trick in the whole fight. And besides that, like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm gonna give that one a 3. Like, it's low for me.
Yeah.
Especially with the blood injections. Like, I like the clockwork one in the show, but even then, like, it's kind of boring.
Reasonable.
Nico?
All right. So Dylan Dow's mech. Brian, what's the name of it again in the show? It has a name.
Alseides.
The Alseides. I love it because Dylan Dow's piloting it. I like that it's kind of buggy and kind of insectoid. I always feel like chitin, the stuff that makes the exterior of bugs, is an underutilized mech material. So I enjoyed him. I would say that's an 8 for me, just because, I don't know, I feel like we got to see a good range of stuff from that, but it didn't really have, like, the import. It seemed to come as, like, a useful tool for Falcon, which makes sense because they're really compressing what happens in the show. But, like, it just kind of comes out of nowhere and he's got one. Whereas Escaflowne, the discovery, the transportation, the utilization, there's a lot of weight put on Escaflowne that just isn't here for the Alseides. That said, Alice, meet me in the Denny's parking lot because I am standing the Escaflowne. That is a 9 out of 10 for me. It's khaki. I don't love the color, but that thing is bone, cartilage, blood, and hate. And I love it. It's got a pulsating orb. I'm a meat mech person. Yeah. It's got a cape made out of worms. I'm thriving. I love this thing. I think it is at its lamest when it becomes the dragon, but I appreciate the metaphor. It's like, okay, you don't have to give it blood anymore. It's its own thing, and here's the dragon motif.
Yeah.
But when it is taking your blood, when it is getting dark moded, when it is getting red pilled, when it is yanking weapons out of its body with clear, vicious, brutal, visceral pain, I'm with it. I'm into it. I love it. That's a 9 out of 10 for me, baby.
It's okay to have opinions.
I have the same ratings as Nico. I mean, we didn't talk about the Alseides, like, having fucking sick bat wings it deploys.
I thought those were like bug wings, but I may be just misremembering.
Well, this is why, this is the only reason the Alseides isn't a 9 for me, is because we don't actually really get to see its whole body, like, fully in the light, as a structure, really.
Yeah.
The fight where it debuts is at night, and then before that, we see it weird and pink and fleshy, like in a cavern or something. So yeah, if I were able to like take a gander at it in the media, fully standing in its glory, I might be able to analyze it more, but I like what I do see. I really like what I do see of it. I think its weapons are ultimately cooler than Escaflowne's. Escaflowne is an all-timer to me itself. That's my bone daddy. I will say when it first pulls its big sword out and it's like a small sword and it like gets bigger, that looks lame to me. I don't like the progressive knife turning into like the big thing very much. And I've said this already, I really don't like the dragon, but when it's black and then like in almost every other moment, it dominates the consciousness on the screen. It's so cool looking to me.
Oh yeah.
I always love a big pauldron. So yeah, that's where I'm at. After our next break, we will play I was about to say video game, but I don't know that qualifies.
We can do that.
Brian has programmed a video game.
I've made a whole video game. It's a side scroller. No, I'm just kidding. So we will be right back. Hey, Brian here. We are a brand new podcast, as I'm sure you can probably tell so far. We are basically just doing this because we like it, and we're just kind of using the tools that we have accrued and the skills that we have stumbled into, and we're learning as we go along. We really only rely on word of mouth, relentless shit posting, and charts and numbers to sort of curate our audience. So if you really enjoyed this episode and want to give us a hand, consider leaving a 5-star review on your podcatcher of choice. Apple Podcast, everybody knows this is the big one, but I will take validation where I can get it. So if your review is funny or kind, we may read it here on the show. Or if you leave like a specific mech model you want us to vibe check, we have opinions. That's basically all we have. Sharing the podcast on social media with mech loving friends would also be fantastic. Hope you guys have a really good day. I love you. I have a glass of wine and I'm going to drink it now.
So it's game time.
It's game time.
We just finished a game of League of Legends, like we said we were going to.
Yes.
And we're ready to get into it.
I have creatively named this game Who Are These Fucking People?
Okay.
Here are the rules of the game. I will name a character in the movie Escaflowne, open parentheses, 2000, close parentheses. First, Alice will kind of guess on a scale of 1 to 10 how different their character design is between the TV show and the movie. For bonus points, if you can call out why the fuck they care about anything that's happening in this movie, that's a plus. But Alice will guess first, then Nico. Whoever is closer to my objective rating as the arbiter of truth and objectivity within and without the world of Gaia gets a point.
I'm ready. We're cooking.
Okay, let's get into it.
I'm ready.
Let me get my notes. All right, the first...
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Do you have a photo of them in the movie?
I will...
Because I am bad at names.
When I give the objective answer as the arbiter of truth, I will post a photo of both the TV show version and the movie version in the chat.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember. I'm going to have to struggle to remember what people looked like.
That's fair.
You haven't memorized all of them?
Oh, well.
Damn. Annihilated. Okay, the first character we have on our docket is Alan himself.
Which one is Alan?
Alan is the head.
The chick?
Alan is the chick in charge of the rebel group, the blonde psychopath.
It's a girl?
No.
Oh. So I'm going to say, because of when this came out, this is a 2000 movie, parentheses 2000, he has a very be shonen vibe to him, where he's like, cut chin, perfectly straight hair, Sephiroth vibes. I literally said Sephiroth has appeared. And I feel like the anime came before
it did.
Escaflowne by a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'm going to say, is it on a scale of 1 to 10, you said? I'm going to say a 9, different from the original series, because he seems like he is made for the anime-loving girls of that era, / boys who like the Sephiroth vibe.
Okay.
And then what was for the bonus points?
I'm
getting any bonus points.
Can you call out why the fuck he cares about any of the events happening in this movie whatsoever?
I'm going to say the reason he cared about these events is he wanted to make money. That's it. Those are my 2 thoughts. Go.
All right. Nico?
Okay. I'm going to say 4 out of 10 different. And the reason he's so low is because I feel like I do actually tangentially agree with Alice. I think this guy is mostly eye candy. I feel like he's probably tied to the larger clan and national conflict. And that's also kind of my answer for why he gives a fuck. But as far as just being a pretty presence on screen who acts as a leader but is actually secondary to Vaughn, yeah, I'm going to say he's a 4 out of 10 different from his role in the show, and he cares because he's part of the political shit that is happening.
Okay.
And he is a pretty boy. He's such a pretty boy.
I thought we had more women when I saw him.
Here is Alan in Escaflowne the movie, open parentheses, 2000, close parentheses.
Oh, he's so cute. I'm already reacting because I know he's going to be cute.
I'm still looking at Curse of Dragon.
I just remember him having the deepest V possible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying this.
He's part of the generation that made girls who draw anime art, really fuck up the anatomy of collarbones.
Oh my god, this is the start of yaoi hands.
Yeah, this is...
Oh no, it's yaoi hands.
It's what I like. Does it this is the beginning of that era where, eventually they just all have a shirt that's always unbuttoned everywhere, but still tucked in.
So you can see them collarbones.
And they're sitting, but their arms are so long and lanky that they're fully wrapped around.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the boy. I forgot he had a circlet.
Okay, so the objective truth as written by me is that Nico gets a point because I put 4.
Oh, damn, I actually got the number.
The difference is, in fact, the circlet.
Is that really it? He's wearing a circlet?
Here, I'm posting. This is TV show, Alan.
Oh, there's...
Oh,
yeah, this is a shoujo. Look at that fucking shoulder span.
He's got
This is a glow down into the movie.
He is a lord, and his empire, or his lorddom, his fiefdom was crushed by the Black Dragons. So Nico gets a full point plus a made-up bonus point.
A point that doesn't matter.
A point that doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, the circlet to me was I also think, and this kind of goes across everyone between the 2 iterations, but obviously he's a lot softer in the original run. But everyone is, because it's for girls. So.
Oh my god.
Okay, the next character we have is Captain Gaddis. Alice?
Who's Captain Gaddis?
He is named one time.
Okay.
He is the black-haired, like, second in command to Alan.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Like, our first one, I get it. I thought it was a cute anime girl at first. When we get into the guys, we're gonna get into problems here. So I'm gonna say I don't remember what he looked like, but based on the fact that... Based on
vibes alone.
Vibes alone, based on how I didn't care for anything he did in the movie, I'm gonna say like a 5. I'm gonna say a 5, and I have no idea why he cares about any of this.
Okay.
Okay.
Nico?
Okay, I'm gonna say... I'm torn between wanting to go, he's very different from the show, but I also feel like he's probably pretty close. Honestly, I would put him at a 2 out of 10 difference. Because I get the feeling from the beginning part of this movie where it's way more focused on the crew of the contraption that they're driving around. This guy is a mercenary. He runs a mercenary crew. He's your Han Solo. He's your morally gray guy who's out to do a job in the middle of a war. And I feel like that character is probably consistent between the show and the movie because that's a fun archetype to do, is have someone who's just in it for the money or just in it, because he is the odd man out. He's a mercenary. He's a third party in a larger conflict. So yeah, I'm going to say he's a 2 out of 10 in terms of difference from the character on the show. And I'm going to say he is in it because he is getting paid, and he might as well get paid if he's not part of these 2 big warring factions.
All right, I am going to post movie Gaddis.
And his beautiful little bustier.
That's who that is?
Yeah, that's that guy.
And I'm going to post TV show Gaddis. I have a 0 here.
Okay, who is this man? I don't know this man.
He looks so happy, so full of life.
He's whiter?
They whitewashed him, or they brownwashed him, really.
They brownwashed him for the movie.
I actually put a 0 difference here, and the reason is he is just exactly the same guy. This is just kind of an exposed still. The other thing is Nico still gets a point here also because, this is his job. That's all we know about him.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. He's the Uber driver. The fucked up meme that's like, am your Uber driver, am outside, and then you look outside, there's some kind of horrific contraption out there, but it's this ox-drawn, monstrous moving city.
His hair has the exact same amount of cowlicks.
Yeah. I will say, before I baby girlified Dylan Dow, not in a gender way, before I chose Dylan Dow as my very special man, I was Gaddis pilled because I was just like, in the movie, he wears like this weird red leather bustier that shows off some midriff and some hip bone. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm living for the pirate vibe. I'm living for this man is just out here with his boys vibe. So
yeah.
Second place in my heart, Captain Gaddis. Never changed.
He's also just so plain and like barely does anything that it's just kind of he can't do anything wrong if he never does anything. So, we love him.
Hey, that's how I live.
Our next character is my beautiful, beautiful son, Jajuka.
Oh, yeah.
And which one's Jajuka?
Jajuka is the lion beast man.
I need you to cut out every one of the times when I ask this to be explained.
I'll make you sound so smart and like you took 5 pages of notes on this.
And then I didn't.
Okay. I didn't write down character names besides my girls. Jajuka, I think in this he is drawn as a scary, original Wizard of Oz lion.
That's a good pull.
I feel like this was a shoujo before, he was a cute little cuddly kitten, if not an actual cat that Hitomi had in some weird twist of fate. So I'm going to say an 8 difference. And I know why he's in this fight, because the Empire destroyed his people and subjugated him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean the same way Alice did, but I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go all the way in. I feel like I've been really conservative. I'm going to say 10 out of 10 difference. In the movie, this man is a metaphor for all oppressed people everywhere, and in the show, this man is comic relief. That's what I'm going to go for. Oh, and Alice, did you say why you think he's invested in this conflict?
Yeah, he was conquered.
Oh, yeah. That's right, because his people were conquered. Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, that's the same reason he gives a shit for me as well. I think he is one of the few characters whose interests in this film are actually well articulated, so.
Sure, that makes sense.
But yeah, I think he's a 10 out of 10. I think he's a totally different character.
Okay.
I'm going to be a little more extreme than Alice.
I'm posting...
I'm waiting for Brian to post a photo of the Lion man, and then the next one is just a black man.
That is movie.
Okay,
so good.
Serving.
I love him so much. The sequence where he's like zooming in with his cat eye is so cool.
Oh yeah.
This is TV show Jojoka.
Oh my god! It's the Beast! Oh my god!
Nico was correct. This is a 10 out of 10 difference. This is a different guy. This is just a different guy.
This game is rigged. I'm swearing to God. This game is rigged.
I was like, maybe if I go more extreme, but no. Who is this man?
Just,
I don't know this man.
This is just a good-looking man painted yellow. There is no lion here.
He has like a couple of moments where he's yelling and he looks a little bit more like a cat, but yeah. Oh, and then also in the show, he's like Dylan Dow's pet. It's weird.
Yeah?
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's like his assistant / page / general guy.
I'm starting to not want to watch this show the more I hear about it.
I'll be real with you, and everybody's got like fucking huge Bella the Ball sleeves.
They're called pauldrons. Thank you.
No, when they're on shirts, they're called something else, but I can't think of it.
Pillows, shoulder pillows.
I hated that one. Why is he in the conflict?
Yeah, he was basically like subsumed by Fulkin after Fulkin destroyed his village, and for some reason took like several decades before he decided that he was done doing that. I don't know. All right. Our next one is Malerna.
Oh.
Hime-san. So Hime, she's got the pirate vibe. So you know, like in Pirates of the Caribbean 3, when like she's suddenly like, I'm gonna be a pirate too.
Yeah, Elizabeth Swann.
But like really leans into it. I don't know 3D people's names.
That's so fair.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say for her, I could totally see her being like a full princess in the one. So I'm gonna also put this one at an 8. And her reason for being in the war is she seems like she was actually a princess of like a conquered kingdom.
I think that's pretty good. That's pretty safe. I'm gonna go a 2 out of 10. I'm gonna say she is exactly the same in the show. Well, almost exactly the same in the show as she is in the movie. I don't think it's ever made clear why she is here or what purpose she serves on this crew. I think she is literally just there to be boobs. And I think that her reason for giving a shit about this conflict is someone needs to be Van's mom, I guess. He's Van when I don't care about him. He's Vaughn when he matters. But
I love this. I feel like that's probably consistent with your pronunciation through this episode.
It's very good.
I'm all over the damn place. I'm swerving. But yeah, 2 out of 10. I feel like she's probably really similar to how she was in the show. She was just eye candy, and she's only invested because someone has to be the mom on the crew.
Okay, I'm posting movie Malerna at a great angle to kind of give what her purpose is.
Yep.
Mechanically. And this is show Hime.
Oh my god.
Hime.
This Alice got this one. This is an 8 out of 10.
Yes.
She is just fully like sexified, and I don't understand. I think this might be another like gender thing
Gender.
with the team of like in the show, she's supposed to be kind of like aspirational for Hitomi in a way, because she's like a noble. She's very Princess Leia, and so. But then in the movie, she's more of like an object of attraction, and she's literally there to just like woman-splain things to Hitomi and have
tits in the frame,
titty armor. It's rare you see titty armor that like actually puts your boobs like out before your body
bra.
like that.
Yeah, this is a push-up bra.
It's a full push-up bra armor, and one of the only pieces of armor she wears, which is just great.
My God. And Underwire already sucks. I can only imagine that this is a fucking nightmare. Oh.
I can't tell if this is better or worse, honestly. I like, in some ways I like it, but I don't know. But I'm glad. See, I know my girls.
Yeah,
you gotta give me some anime girls. Okay.
I have one more. It is a bonus round, and I think this is going to be funny.
Do I have a chance to win?
Maybe.
Yeah, double the points.
This is not a character we talked about during this podcast at all.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Go on.
My last character is Shesta.
Like the cola?
Yes, but with an E instead of an A. Shesta.
Wait. I think
Shasta.
I remember. Is this one of the knights who's with Dillendow during the initial ambush?
Yes, this is to make it fair and give the full calculus. This is the one that was like doing weird psychic shit to tell him how many people were on the machine.
Oh my God, this dude.
They really just had that happen, and with everything else going on, I forgot that there was that.
Malerna's boobs were in the shot. I don't know. I can't be held responsible.
She didn't want me to look. Didn't wear the armor.
Okay, Brian, hit us with Shesta. Oh, right. This is Alice Hesta.
Yeah.
Shesta. So I'm going to say, you said this was a bonus round, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say whatever the equivalent of this character didn't exist in the original is.
Okay.
I don't think this existed outside of the movie.
Okay.
And the reason for being in the war is their main boy, Dylan Dahl, called him up. That's my thought.
Yeah, he got a text from an old booty call that just said "you up," but it wasn't for sexy reasons. It was for scrying reasons.
There's always a war somewhere, as Tillendal would say.
Oh, I think Alice is extremely valid for just being like, "N.A. I don't think this dude was present." I don't want to choose the same thing though. We can't choose the same thing. I'm gonna say 2 out of 10. I think he's identical to his role in the show. I think this character is consistent because he does not matter. I think he's only in the movie probably because he matters more on the show. But he has like the same power set. And I think the only reason he's in this war is because he has a cool magic power and it helps explain how magic works in this world and it looks cool. And so he's there to be cool.
And he is. He is,
even though we completely forgot him. And I did not know his name, but I looked up Yukari's name.
There was a lot going on, okay?
In that scene in particular, there was a lot going on. We got literally like 7 characters introduced, one after the other.
Suicide bomber goblins, again.
Yeah. Okay. Movie Shesta. This is great because this is like the only shot he's in, and it's just so disturbing. Hold on.
With the eyes, it's so inhuman.
Whoa, yeah, this guy.
Sperm.
With the sperm?
He has sperm on his forehead.
He has a red sperm tattoo.
Yeah.
Nico gets this one because here is TV show Shesta. He is a twink who dies immediately.
Wait, run that back.
He is a twink who dies immediately.
How many episodes of the show is he in?
1 or 2.
So the airtime is consistent. Does he do anything in the show? Like, does he have the power? He actually gets
to pilot. I didn't mention this. The enemy Zybok mechs in the show are called Guy Malefs. And he pilots one of those.
I know a guy. Malef.
I know a guy, Malef, and it's spelled like that too.
I love it.
Yeah, I went with a 2 on this because he got psychic powers and a sperm tattoo. That's really the only difference. I think
Alice spiritually gets this point because this is not the same character. I know that they are technically the same and they both have the I'm a little pudding boy haircut, but
pudding boy?
This man, I don't know this man. This man was not in the show. This man was not in the movie. I'm retconning it.
I'm retconning it.
I'm going into the archive and I'm cutting him out of the cellular.
Yeah, can we talk about how Dylan Dow is also psychic and couldn't just do this himself?
Dylan Dow had other shit to be doing, like being voiced by the fucking woman of all time, so.
And having gender.
And having gender.
I like how Dylan Dow's party is this psychic person and then 3 people who exist to stand around and talk about how cool Dylan Dahl is. And honestly, of all of the crews to have, that's great.
Yeah, the hype crew. I would be there. I am there. I am in real life there on that crew.
You know, this game really, it affected me. And I think you're going to find me on the roof napping.
With a suicide note by your
With a suicide note by me.
Alice, I think you have the real victory, which is just understanding women. So...
Thank you.
And I think there should have been more of that in the creation of this show. I think we should have set Freud's corpse on fire, and we should have had Alice tell us about women.
Yeah. Kawamori, love your contribution to the mech genre. Maybe talk to one woman.
Just,
yeah.
You know.
This just in. We got a letter that I'm going to have Nico read.
Okay. Dear OSG Pod. I'm an average teenager attending high school. Lately, I've been worried because I'm seeing signs I might be transported to a distant fantasy land riven by strife. It's all the classic stuff. Prophetic dreams, disconnection from reality, seeing mysterious, beautiful men, ominous chanting, and a statistically improbable uptick in large box trucks blowing through red lights right as I'm about to cross the street. Given I may soon be whisked away from my normal life and made to resolve some kind of cosmic war, and assuming I will get to keep what I'm wearing but nothing else, what small, useful items should I begin carrying in my pockets? I'm at the 100 yen shop right now. Please reply soon. The chanting is back. Signed H from Kamakura.
This is
tough.
This isn't a good spot to be in, honestly.
Extra uniform. Okay. Extra uniform must. I don't know how you keep that in your pocket, but...
Well, you have your handbag. You have your school bag. I assume it's things you're touching.
Well, if you don't get to keep that, you just wear 2 layers.
Oh, yeah.
You're like that person who wears the swimsuit under the uniform and forgets to bring a change of underwear because you're so excited for the pool.
I also don't know how you're going to get an extra uniform at the 100 yen shop, but...
You know, here's what I'm going to say. At those shops, they have a lot of travel supplies, and they have the little folding toothbrushes. And I'm just going to say that, like, wherever you're going to be isekai'd, dental hygiene is very important, especially if you're going to meet the person of your dreams and smack lips, you know? So you want to be fresh and ready for whatever happens when you get transported. So I'm going to say a pocket toothbrush.
That's so real. And you can get them fresh and ready, which will be a huge help to you.
There's a scene in Monogatari where he toothbrushes his sister, and it's erotic, and that's all I'm imagining, but with Escaflowne.
I just imagined...
just holding Van down like a dog at the vet and brushing him.
I'm imagining, like, when she's dressing his wound and he's unconscious, she just kind of takes a quick, get some Colgate in there.
Just get some Colgate, freshens up. I'm going to say entertainment. Bring a yo-yo, you know? I mean, something to keep you going.
What are you thinking, Bri?
Milk tea.
Milk tea?
Boba.
That's good. Gotta keep your blood sugar up.
I don't know what kind of beverages. Nobody was seen really drinking, even at the bar, from what I can tell. What if Gaia just has awful water?
Oh, that's real. I mean, that was back in the dawn of civilization. More people drank beer than water because part of the process of making beer made it more potable than the average water
Does the 100 yen store have 6-packs of Kirin Ichiban?
No.
Damn.
And you know what? If you can get that in your uniform pockets, I don't think you got to worry about it.
That's true.
So I don't think they'd probably sell you Kirin Ichiban if you're in a school uniform. Feel like there's something, you know.
I don't know, but maybe they know.
Maybe they know.
Maybe they can hear the chanting.
Yeah, if you asked anyone else if they can hear the chant. Like, do you have kind of a close homoerotic relationship with someone on the track team? Maybe you should ask if they also hear the chanting.
Maybe you should ask. Something that they always have at a 100 yen store is like a bag with a hilarious cartoon character on it that nobody wants to buy. And, you know, honestly, I think it's time to just, you got to go big for this one. When the truck hits you, you want to be ready, you know?
I like this strat. Like, get a bag so ugly they have to send it to the other world with you.
They're like, this shouldn't exist in this plane. Also, just gonna throw this out there, but like, maybe talk to somebody about this. Maybe these aren't normal sounds to be hearing. Like, I know that's not. They don't have a psychiatrist at the 100 yen store, but it's something to consider.
Oh, would it be okay as me being the person who read this to give some advice?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. At the 100 yen shop, there's usually in the personal care and hair care area a hair blade trimmer.
Oh.
And what this is, it is a hair comb looking thing that has a razor blade inside it, because you put the little plastic cover on that has the teeth of the comb, and you can run it down the ends of your hair and kind of trim them up and get the dead ends off, right? You got to take that with you. This is a multi-tool. You can either trim your hair, which you'll probably need to do. You can either take the razor blade out, use it as a regular comb. You're going to need to comb your hair. Or you could take the little plastic cover with the teeth on it off and stab somebody. And I think that's a good value for 100 yen, and it'll fit in your pocket. So that's my advice.
I have one more that you should consider. Tampons, which is what I thought you were going to say.
That's real, though.
Don't sell those at the 100 yen store?
They do. They do.
I
don't know that I would use them, because it's kind of like dollar store tampons.
Yeah, but like, what do they got in Gaia? Like a rag?
Yeah, that's so real.
Do we have any closing thoughts? It's last call. I'm about to shutter the windows on this bad boy, on my little caravan of earthly delights.
The bar run by Dryden.
My last thought is, I love anime. However, I feel like it's going to happen a lot as we go through this, where I'm going to be like, boy, I really wish it wasn't just the boys club, and that there were some women involved with these mechs, because it's a problem in these old anime, and it really comes out in this. But overall, I had a great time with this movie.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like I said before, it's a weird movie, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on in it. And as far as kind of parting thoughts, closing thoughts, in the United States, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. You can text or call. Don't stake your life on getting isekai'd. Get help.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, that may be too heavy. I may record something else, but I think about.
I was thinking about honestly putting a content warning, because I was going to go deep into. So she was going to kill herself at the beginning of this.
The shoes being on the roof is one of the most loaded images.
Yeah.
In Japanese culture, when I saw that, I was like, what kind of movie is this? Because you will have the isekai where they jump off the roof and go to the other world, and it's very dark. So I'm glad it wasn't that, but... Oof.
I just feel like between Vaughn just going the fuck off in the first 5 minutes, bloody gut style, and the shoes on the roof, this movie wrote a check and then did not cash it, because at the end we got Catgirl Village clapping him and Called by the Mystic Moon.
Nya. Brian, what are your last thoughts? You're the one who brought this to the table.
I did bring this to the table. I love Bone Mech.
I love Bone.
Escaflowne is very gender.
Real. Shout outs to Dylan Dow.
Shout outs to Dylan Dow.
Escaflowne is very gender. Is such a succinct. Okay.
One more gender politics drop here. Note to myself.
Let's get into gender politics.
Yeah.
I'll put forward that I also just really love Dylan Dow and everything he does in this. My son Jajuga cannot be stopped, though. I mourn him and I worship him every day as time goes on.
And I'm glad he got the glow up he did from the show.
Oh, yeah, that by Shonen furry.
Yeah,
we don't need that.
I can't. He's just painted yellow.
But yeah, thanks for listening. Pilots, remember, you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to the same address. You can also catch up with us on social media, or at least in the description. Generally, we are OSG_pod, although by the time this airs, we may have fudged something there. I don't know.
Yeah, check the description. Nico here in the edit, because we forgot to put it in the show outline, just wanted to let you know, next episode will be on Armored Core 1 for the PS1.
But until next time, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye, I love you.
Bye, I love you.